Om Sai Ram. So let's start with part 2 of chapter 1. This is again about the introduction of sociology. The topic is twin revolution and emergence of sociology. And the next part we'll study is sociology a science. So as you know, we discussed about twin revolutions, French Revolution and Industrial Revolution. That were the major factors why sociology emerged as a social science, as a new subject. I hope you have seen the video link that I sent you in the last part. That is very important. If you have not seen, please see that. In this part, we are going to study what was the impact of twin revolution in the emergence of sociology, what is science, and is sociology a science? And at the third part, we'll be giving you assignment. So, twin revolution and emergence of sociology. So, the first revolution that we studied was the French Revolution. When did it happen? It happened in 1789. And it was the immediate factor in the rise of sociology. This revolution lasted for 10 years. So what happened in this revolution? Just a brief introduction I want to give you about this French Revolution. You know this country France, which is in Europe. This revolution occurred there in 1789. Basically, that society was divided in various groups. Those groups were called estates. You don't need to remember these names. Just I'm trying to give you a brief introduction of what it was. What was the French Revolution? So in that French Revolution, these three classes were there, or the estates were there. Clergy, or the priests or church leaders, that is the priests. They were the most powerful group. And then were the nobles or high class, aristocratic people, king people, or the courtsmen in the king's court. And then the lowest class of French society was the commoners or common people. So the commoners were the ones who paid most of the taxes, and the nobles lived a luxurious life, as well as the clergies dictated their rules. So that's how a time came when the revolution began by the unrest in commoners. The commoners did not like to be subdued for a long time, so they protested. This was the basic introduction of French Revolution. At the same time, we are still talking about French Revolution. Why did this happen? Why did the people revolt? Because during that time, the French society was getting influenced by this era of enlightenment or the intellectual movement. We had already discussed in the last part that this is the era where there were many new philosophers who emerged. They were talking about new values. They were talking about brotherhood. They were talking about fraternity, liberty, freedom, individual rights. It was all opposed to the priestly way in which the church dominated French society. So whatever the church would ask the commoners to do, that only the commoners would have to do. Now they were getting influenced by this new idea, these new ideas about equality, fraternity. This we discussed in the last part also. So I hope you have understood. With that, because you are giving now importance to equality, liberty, fraternity, justice, individual right, there was a development of physical science. Science was developing as against the religious thought. Religious thought, was based on belief system. Now science came where they were all asking about proofs, experiments, logic, reason. All that was trying to find its roots or trying to set its root in the French society. With that came the new technology also. So with these new values, people started questioning the authority of church on their lives. kings and clergies living a luxurious life and fighting costly wars. This angered the people of France and they revolted. The people got very angry that already they had to pay all the taxes and there were the kings who were fighting costly wars. And on whose cost was he fighting? The cost would be managed by taking extra taxes from the people. Obviously people will be angry. So there came the revolution. There was a chaos and unrest in the society. We told you the meaning of chaos in the last part, that there was disturbance in the society, unrest in the society, imbalance in the society. Everything was going up and down. People were fighting and it was not at all a smooth running. Sociology then emerged as a response to study these changes. So there were some people who got up to understand why these changes are occurring. Why are the people revolting? What is going against them? What is wrong in the society? So those were the people, and some of them who really studied the society in a very, very serious manner. They actually founded this new particular subject, which is called sociology. So just now we discussed about the French Revolution. Now we are discussing the impact of Industrial Revolution. So Industrial Revolution began in England in 18th century. It marked a change from an agrarian and handicraft economy to industrial system of production. So you should know which year and when did it happen. It happened in 18th century. Where? In England. So Industrial Revolution, as the name suggests, industries came into being. Earlier it was agriculture, farming was the main source of occupation. Now it was industries. Why it happened? Because of rapid industrializations that first began in Britain, starting with mechanized spinning in 1780s. So what happened in Britain? There was a mechanized spinning. You know, to make a particular cloth, what do? There's a spinning machines. This time this was a mechanized, this was a machine. So it was not you don't have to do it manually, a machine came. So obviously the production was very large and it happened in 1780. So that gave them a lot of profit. They started earning a lot. So that gave them a boost and a high rate of production occurred. Earlier they could make maybe 2 cloths, now they were making 20 cloths. The middle and the upper class of society benefited the most because they were the ones who could afford such machines. So they all got in into industrial production. A new class of capitalists emerged who wanted to make profit. So now comes the word capitalist, first time. What is capitalist? The one who really looks for making more and more profit. So these were the people who were trying to make more and more profit, and they were the ones who were the owners of these industries. So a new class of capitalists emerged who wanted to make profit, and the high rate of migration of poor people to industrial town. So the people who were living in villages, they were tempted by these kind of working situations. And they also thought that let us also come to these industries and we will also earn well. So they also came up to these industries to make profit. So a high rate of migration took place at that time. So this industrialization also brought a dramatic change in people's life. Now everybody was working in the industry. The whole family was working in the industry, the husband, wife, even the children. They were working in the industries and they did not have a private personal life of their own. So this way they were also had become very money minded. So and there was a lot of exploitation also going on from the capitalist side. There was a huge story of that also. Many people came up to study these changes that came up, and Karl Marx was one of such. He never called himself a sociologist, but what he studied was about the society only. Why did this change take place? So then sociology emerged as a response to study these changes too. So basically these twin revolution, meaning Industrial Revolution and French Revolution. I hope you have understood these two revolutions. They both occurred in Europe. Industrial Revolution occurred in England in 18th century, and French Revolution occurred in France in late and middle of 18th century, late 17th century, and middle of 18th century basically. And then these were the major two factors that brought lot of changes in the French society or European society. And then to study these changes came up this new subject, or the new people who studied these changes. So this is a picture of Industrial Revolution, England in 18th century. You can see the condition, you can see the industries and the smoke coming out of it. All these factories, and people are all working in these factories. You can understand the changes in their life. Before being in an agrarian society, that is a farming setup, living in villages near nature, now they are living here in these kind of small setups and very congested and difficult conditions they were living. Their entire life changed. Now, French and Industrial Revolution and sociology. What is the link between these two? So, as a result of French Revolution, what all happened? French class system changed drastically. So, as we had told, there were three classes in the French society. First one was the clergies, and then noblers, and then were the commoners. So nobles or aristocrats lost their power and money because there was a revolt. Peasants who were at the lowest level earlier, that is the commoners, they gained more power. This brought many changes and unrest in society. As a result of Industrial Revolution, people abandoned agriculture and moved to cities to find factory jobs. They left their agriculture, they left their farming, and they all ran off to the cities to get better jobs, better payments. They worked in factories for long hours and low pay. So it was not how they thought, but their lives completely got changed. A new class of urban poor emerged, along with many other societal problems. And when all this was happening, the French Revolution, Industrial Revolution, and unrest in people, so many changes in their lives, then emerged sociology. So here came one person with the name Auguste Comte in 1798 to 1857. And there were many others also who became interested in studying these changes in the society. Comte observed that the social sciences that existed at that time could not adequately explain the upheaval and chaos that occurred after these two revolutions. So all the other sciences, social sciences that existed up till then, history, political science, economics, they could not study these changes. So he saw the need for an entirely new science to study these changes. He called this new science as sociology. He was therefore called the father of sociology. He sought to apply scientific method to study society as natural sciences. So you will see that the people at that era, at that time, they were really very impressed with the scientific innovations, and they were all trying to prove that sociology was in the realm of science. Then sociology as a new stream of studying society. So sociology was first taught as an academic discipline at the University of Kansas in 1890, University of Chicago in 1892, Atlanta University 1897, and it over time spread to other universities of North America. And in 1930, sociology department at Harvard University came up. Howard University, you should know, is one of the most prestigious universities of the world. So here came sociology department. It was as old as there being in 1930. In India, it was established in 1857 in Bombay, Calcutta and Madras. Formal teaching began in Bombay University in 1914. So it's a very old subject. Now comes the basic question. Is sociology a science? What is a science? If we say sociology is a science or sociology is not a science, we should first know what is science. When we say science, what do we mean by that? Is it a subject? What is science? Science is basically a systematic and practical study of physical and natural phenomena. Based on practical observation and experiment, it describes cause and effect relationship. For example, day and night due to Earth's movement around sun. So whatever, there is a cause and there is a effect. So if there are day and night, this is the effect. What is the cause of day and night? They will study, scientists will study the cause of day and night, and they will come to understand various social facts that are responsible for, various physical facts that are responsible for this effect of having day and night. Other examples also. So, for example, life of an organism, it takes birth, it grows, it matures, and then it dies. All those things, what is the process, how does it happen, all those things, they always were learning in the terms of practical observation, experiment, and cause and effect relationship. That is all about science, which is observable. You can see it, you can experiment, and you can predict. This is happening, so this only will happen. That is the meaning of science. It's a systematic study. It gives out general principles governing a phenomena, and it leads to formulation of laws and predictions. So you have to experiment on certain things, and then you can give definite laws. Okay, for example, plants have life. So this is just not a philosophical statement. People really studied them, made experiments, and showed it through experiments that yes, plants have life. So like that, science studies. Science bases its findings a lot on experiments and observations. So is sociology also a science? Let's examine sociology as a science. So here comes Robert Bierstedt in his book The Social Order listed the following characteristics. Sociology is a social and not a natural science. It is not a physical science. Sociology is not a physical science. What is a physical science? Like biology, chemistry. It is not like that, because it deals with people. It deals with a person. It deals with a person's interaction and not with biological phenomena. It's not about what is going on inside the body, which is a realm of physical sciences. It is all about how one person deals with another person. What is a society? How are people staying together? So it's not a biological phenomena. It studies the social phenomena, so it is a social science. Second, it is a categorical science. What is the meaning of categorical science? That it is concerned with what is and not with what should be. It's a very important criteria or feature of sociology, that you study the society as it is. You don't say it should not have been like that. We should not do like this. No, you just study it as it is. If there are some crime rates in the society, a sociologist will not go and say that crime should not happen. They will go and study in what conditions are these crime happening, what kind of crimes are happening more and more, which areas, which conditions, what kind of people are committing those crimes. So they will study crimes in a very, very scientific manner, but they will not say crime should not occur. This study they will give to the administrators. It is administrators' jobs to see that crime should not occur. It is not a sociologist's job. Sociologist will only study the crime rates, the kind of crimes, and all the situations around it. I hope you have understood. Now, sociology is a pure science and not an applied science. What is the difference between pure science and applied science? The way we study sociology, it is very, very scientific. That means it is based on observation again. That's why we are calling it scientific. It is based on concrete evidences which are there in the society. You can prove it. Yes, it is so. It is based on data collection or direct observation, as it is there in science also. But the difference is its rules can't be applied in a general manner. The way science rules can be applied in a general manner, sociology's rules cannot be, social sciences rule cannot be applied in a general manner, because societies are very different from each other, people are different from each other. We cannot have a single rule saying that this is how, if we are studying about marriage, okay, so this is the marriage and all the marriages take place like this only. No, in a particular society, it will take place like this. Still there will be deviations, differences. But a natural phenomena will occur as it is every day. Every day the sun will come, every day the sun, sun is there, the earth will revolve around it. And then you will have day, you will have night. It will happen. It's a regular phenomena. It will happen like that only. So this is the difference. Sociology is a pure science and it is not an applied science. Sociology is a generalizing science and not a particularizing science. So other sciences, social sciences such as economics, political science or history deal with a particular aspect of human society. But sociology deals with all the aspects in general. So economists will be studying about the economic aspect of a society. Who is earning how, what is the means of production, how are the people, what is the people's main occupation, and what is their money consumption, where is the money coming from, where is the money going to, what is the basic financial infrastructure of a particular society. So they are only focusing at the finances or the money related issues of a particular society. But sociology will not only study that, sociology will study about economics, the occupation of the people. Sociology will study about the politics, that is, who is ruling the society and how they are ruling, how the society is managing itself. Sociology is also studying about the history of the particular society, how it particular society came into being, or this particular ritual or custom which is going on, how long it is coming from in this society. So all the other sciences are very particular, social sciences are very particular social sciences. History will study about history, economics will study about economics, but sociology is a general science. It will study about all these aspects. Sociology is an empirical science. That means it's a practical science. Its facts are based on observation and experimentation. So they go in the field and they do the observation and experiment. Experiment will not be like laboratory experiments. Experiments will be based on certain variables that you will study later. But basically whatever the sociologists say will not be based on their common sense, will not be based on their own understanding of the society, will not be based on their emotional reactions to the society. No, it will be based on the concrete observation, how the society is functioning. They will go collect data. For example, if there is maybe birth rates they want to check, they will take the data. These many children were born in a particular society. Can anybody refute that? Can anybody say no, this is not so? No, because it is based on exact field study, collection of proper data. So it cannot be refuted. So that way it is a science. Sociology is a rational science. Its facts are based on reasoning and logical inferences. Okay, so it is, as I said, it is not based on commonsensical perception. Oh, I know about it. It is like this only. I know people from North India are like that only. No such remarks are entertained in sociology. Whatever you are saying, you have to give data for that. You have to have some experiments on the basis of that only you can say. You cannot make any general remarks about anything based on your common sense or your preferences. So you have to have proper grounding or proper basis of your statements, which is based on particular experiments or data collection from the field. Use of laboratory and experiment method. Those social facts can't be experimented in a laboratory as a chemical reaction in physical science, but they are based on quantitative method, which too is scientific in nature. For example, study of infant mortality rate. It is just an example. Yes, we cannot do experiments in a laboratory like physical sciences, but we can definitely go and collect data on a particular subject. For example, infant mortality rate. You can collect data on that. So it is also based on experimental method. You have taken your source from the actual situation. So nobody can refute your data. It is a valid, reliable data, as reliable or as valid as any scientific data. Complexity and variability of social facts. So I hope you remember what social facts are. Social facts we discussed in the last part. They are the basic phenomena or the basic values on which the society works. We gave you the example of, to show respect to your elders, you touch their feet. That is a particular way of showing your respect. That's a social fact. So different societies have different social facts. Not other societies will be following the same thing. What you eat, what time do you eat, what time do you get up. You have a certain value system on which your society is functioning, and you are also functioning because you are a part of that society. You are not different from society. So, but your social fact will be different from other societies' social facts. So they are very complex and they are variable. They are very varied in nature. They are not singular, one single social fact on the basis of which everything is functioning, as is there in the natural sciences. It is not there in the social sciences, because as there are people, so many are the social facts also. I hope you have understood this point. So now let's, whatever we have discussed, I have put it in a tabular form. Comparison between social and physical science. So physical and natural science, it searches for physical laws in natural phenomena, and social science searches for laws related to man's social behavior. That is the main difference. So physical science will look for physical laws in natural phenomena. What is moon, what is sun, how many gases, and all those things, and what is our atmosphere, how are the things, how is a living organism, what is a non-living organism. All those things they'll learn in a natural phenomena, but searches for laws related to man's social behavior. So in sociology or social sciences, it is the man's social behavior which will be looked into. So in physical science, elements are physically connected or have a clear association. Okay, so if you see a particular maybe flame burning, so it is oxygen and nitrogen, some combination of that. So you will know what is the relationship between the elements and why is this, how does this flame or fire occur. Here in social sciences, elements are socially connected. Okay, so how people are connected to each other, how social institutions are connected to each other, how individual is connected to the society, like that. So the elements are socially connected. Here in social science, in the physical sciences, elements are physically connected. Then the third point is, it explains cause and effect relationship in a physical setup. So what is the cause, what is its effect? That it will study in a physical setup. But sociology too deals with cause and effect relationship, but in a social setup. So what is this cause and effect relationship? Something is the cause and there will be an effect of that. So if there is a fire, there will be a smoke. If there is smoke, that means you will assume that there is a fire also. So this is the association which is in the physical setup. So if you see, there can be a cause and effect relationship in a social setup also. For example, if you see in a particular society there is a high rate of divorce happening. So you will try to study the factors that are there, new factors that are there, new factors in the society which are playing the role in creating that increase in the divorce rate. So if there is a high divorce rate, which is the effect, what is the cause of it? That is also something sociology will study, but it will study in a social context. Then in physical and natural sciences, it uses laboratory experiments to show the relationship between the phenomena. And in social sciences, as we have discussed, there are no laboratory experiments because there are human beings. So it uses field study method. That means you go to the society, you live in the society which you want to study, and you collect data there only. So that is also equally reliable. Natural sciences or physical sciences, the study elements are natural organisms which are there in the environment. And here the study elements are human relationships and social facts which are abstract. You cannot see them. Abstract meaning you can't touch them, you cannot see them, which you can do with the physical science. But here you can't do that. You have to just understand what kind of relationships are there. For example, you are studying your family. So you will know that what kind of relationship a father and a daughter has, what kind of relationship a son and a mother has, what kind of relationship a husband and a wife have, what kind of a relationship, all those things you will study in a human context. So it is based on the complete structure in which that human relationship is based. So you will study that structure. Then the sixth point is the knowledge gained is observable and objective in the social and natural, in a physical science. Whatever you have observed, it is observable and objective. Objective meaning it is not based on your emotions, it is not based on your preferences, it is not based on your own ideas or opinions. It is very objective. It is how it is. You have just stated it is daytime. Yes, it is daytime. It is objective statement. I like daytime. That is your subjective statement. It is daytime. That is a objective statement. Observable and objective. This is how the physical science goes. And here same as the natural science, but it is changed as according to the situations change. So it is also observable. It is also objective in sociology, in social sciences, but it is based on not as natural science, but it is based on the societal or a social structure. Then formulation of laws that are observable and predictable. So the social science, the physical science will come up with laws which are observable and predictable. So you will know you do this and this will happen because there have been experiments to prove it. So you don't have to question it. You know this is the cause and that is the effect. And here in social science also, it also frames laws and attempts to predict, but their predictions at time may not be as accurate as in the natural science. Can you tell me why? Why the predictions in the social science can't be as accurate, as precise as in the natural science? The reason is that here in social science we are dealing with humans and their own equations keep changing. Their social structure keeps changing. So we cannot come with a very precise and all the time true predictions or laws. So these were some basic, this was a comparison between social and physical science. So basically what we can say is sociology is a science on its own. It is not as science as a natural science, but it is very scientific in its approach. It is it is observable, it is experimentable, and it is not based on your own personal ideas. That's why it is scientific in its nature. With this we end this part and here comes your assignment. So here you have to answer these questions. What was the cause of French Revolution? So you have to talk about the problems that the commoners were facing and heavy taxes, and they were the exploited lot, and that is the reason why over a period of time when the kings also fought very costly wars and the French society was becoming very economically, it was at a very downside. So that time this revolution occurred in French society. What was the cause of industrialization? Cause of industrialization, again you will discuss, it happened in Britain. And what all happened, that first time the machine was used and it increased a lot of production. It increased the production and it gave a boost or impetus to earn more and more profit, and people became very interested in gaining profit, and that is how the industrialization also began in European society. What was the intellectual environment during the French Revolution? Here you have to tell that the intellectual environment during French Revolution was about, people were talking about freedom, liberty, individual rights. There were many new philosophers who were talking about brotherhood, individual rights, liberty, sovereignty. So all this put a question mark on religious beliefs. and people questioned the religious authorities or the authority of the church in their lives. How did sociology emerge? Sociology emerged as a response to the chaos that had happened because in the wake of French Revolution, in the wake of industrialization, their lives were changed and there was a lot of disturbance and chaos in the society. And you have to discuss what were the changes. You have to say that those points we had discussed, after effects of French Revolution and after effects of industrialization, that you have to discuss and then say, as a response to those changes, sociology emerged. Now, what is the role of Auguste Comte in the emergence of sociology? Here again, you will go back to those slides to see that Auguste Comte was considered to be the father of sociology because he was the one who created this new subject, and he called it sociology. And if you want, you can give the meaning of this word also, sociology, from the last part of this chapter. State any three differences between physical science and social science. Again, you can understand, read it again and give your answers. What is the difference between physical and social science? And give any 3 points to show that sociology is a science in its own way. So you can discuss that sociology, whatever you collect, it is based on field studies, it is based quantitative data, and it is based on experiments in the field. So, and it is observable as it is science, So what is the criteria of science? It should be observable. It should be experimented upon. It can be verified. Same thing can be applied in sociology also, that the data, the studies are based on the data, the findings are based on data from the actual field study, and then it is observable and it can be experimented on its own way, and there is a prediction also. Not as accurate as in physical science, but one can predict also, as they predict the infant mortality rate, and growth rate, all those things they predict. So that is also, these are all the features of a science. So if you find any problem, you can ask me in the WhatsApp group, and you can go back and check the slides also. So read them again, check the slides again, and learn this chapter well and answer these questions. And please submit this assignment by tomorrow evening. Om Sai Ram. Thank you.